In the dazzling world of Hollywood, where fairy tale romances often end in million-dollar divorces, few names have sparked as much fascination and debate as Christie Brinkley. At 71, the former Sports Illustrated cover girl remains a vision of timeless beauty. But this week, it's not her radiant smile or her runway past that has everyone talking. It's a single, provocative statement she made about the very nature of marriage. Appearing on Are You a Charlotte, the podcast hosted by Sex and the City star Kristin Davis, Brinkley dropped a bombshell. Maybe till death do us part is outdated. Coming from anyone, it would raise eyebrows. Coming from a woman who's been married 4 times, it lit up the internet. Her suggestion? Think of marriage as a renewable contract. Every 5 years, you and your partner decide whether to renew or walk away. No lawyers, no dragged-out court battles, no years trapped in an unhappy union. If the love is still there, you keep going. If it's not, you part ways cleanly. Ways. For some, this was a refreshing reality check in a culture obsessed with forever. For others, it was proof that celebrity love lives are completely detached from the values of everyday people. But here's the question. If you had the chance to write your own rules for love, would you take it? Because for Christie Brinkley, love is still worth believing in. She's just not convinced it should always come with a lifetime guarantee. Christie Brinkley's path through love has been a journey of beauty, glamour, and at times, public heartbreak. Her first walk down the aisle came in 1975 when she married French artist Jean-François Allot. It was a young, adventurous chapter that lasted 6 years before ending quietly. No headlines, no scandals, just 2 people moving on. The second marriage, however, was pure Hollywood gold. In 1985, Christie married music icon Billy Joel, the man who had immortalized her in his hit Uptown Girl. Together, they were the picture of success, the pop superstar, and the radiant model. But behind the magazine covers, pressures mounted. By 1994, the fairy tale had ended, and the world was reminded that even dream couples can crumble. That same year, Brinkley entered her shortest marriage yet, to real estate developer Richard Taubman. It began with whirlwind passion but collapsed within a year, proof that fast flames can burn out just as quickly. Her fourth marriage to architect Peter Cook in 1996 seemed destined to last. They built a family, shared 2 children, and lived in the upscale Hamptons. Then came 2006 and a scandal that would dominate tabloids, Cook's affair with a teenager. The betrayal played out under the full glare of the media, leaving Christie humiliated and heartbroken. 4 marriages, 4 ending, some quiet, some explosive, and yet despite it all, she's still here, still smiling, still talking about love. You might wonder, after all that, how does someone still believe in it? Maybe that's exactly why she thinks it's time to rethink what forever really means. When Christie Brinkley shared her thoughts on Are You a Charlotte, even Kristin Davis paused for a moment. The idea was simple, and yet, for many, completely radical. What if marriage wasn't a lifetime vow, but a renewable agreement? Brinkley explained it like this. Imagine a 5-year term. At the end of it, both partners sit down and ask one question. Do we want to keep going? If the answer is yes, you celebrate, maybe even throw another wedding. If the answer is no, you part ways without dragging each other through legal hell or years of quiet resentment. She believes this could prevent couples from staying together out of obligation rather than love. No one would feel trapped just to honor words spoken decades earlier. Why suffer, she seemed to suggest, when you can simply choose again? Supporters called the idea refreshingly honest, a realistic approach in a time when divorce rates are high and relationships often collapse under pressure. Critics, on the other hand, accused her of cheapening commitment. turning marriage into something you could cancel like a streaming subscription. It raises a bigger question for you as a viewer. Is marriage meant to be a test of endurance or a choice that should be reevaluated as life changes? For Christie Brinkley, the answer seems shaped by her own history. 4 times she's stood at an altar. 4 times she's walked away. She still believes in love, but not necessarily in a contract that binds you until death. And that's why her words have ignited a conversation far beyond Hollywood gossip, a conversation about what love, commitment, and freedom mean today. The moment Christie Brinkley's 5-year marriage idea hit the internet, the response was instant and deeply divided. On social media, comment sections became battlegrounds. Supporters applauded her courage to question tradition. They argued that someone who's lived through 4 marriages knows the reality behind the vows better than most. She's just being honest about what works and what doesn't, one fan posted, sparking threads of agreement. For them, Brinkley's proposal wasn't about giving up on love, it was about keeping it alive without forcing it to last beyond its natural course. Critics, however, were quick to push back. Many accused her of treating marriage like a subscription service you can cancel when you get bored. "That's not commitment, that's convenience," one viral tweet read. For traditionalists, her words felt like an attack on the very foundation of family. Mainstream media picked up the story quickly. People ran her quotes prominently, while the New York Times framed it as a cultural conversation starter. Celebrity blogs fueled the fire with dramatic headlines, some praising her refreshing realism, others mocking Hollywood's out-of-touch values. Interestingly, the generational divide was clear. Younger audiences raised on the idea of personal boundaries and self-care tended to embrace her perspective. Older audiences, valuing perseverance and long-term stability, were more skeptical, even offended. And here's where you might find yourself asking, which side would you take? Would you see Brinkley as a forward thinker, challenging outdated norms, or as a celebrity whose wealth makes walking away too easy? Love her or criticize her, one thing is undeniable. Christie Brinkley has once again put herself in the center of a national conversation, not through a photo shoot or runway, but with a single, daring question about the shelf life of love. For all the headlines and heated debates, Christie Brinkley's stance on love today is surprisingly gentle. She hasn't turned bitter, nor has she sworn off relationships forever. Instead, her words carry the weight of someone who's loved deeply, lost painfully, and learned the hard lessons in between. In recent interviews, she's admitted she can be too trusting, even calling herself a fool for love. That vulnerability isn't a confession of weakness, it's an acknowledgement of how her openness has, at times, left her hurt. Some relationships, she says, made her feel unloved, a painful truth she only recognized after walking away. Now she frames love as something to cherish while it lasts, to nurture, but never to force into a mold it no longer fits. "You can't change it or mold it to your desires," she's said, offering a quiet warning to anyone clinging to a fading romance. She hasn't given up on the possibility of finding the so-called miracle guy, but she's also made peace with the idea that he might never appear. And if he doesn't, she insists she's very, very happy and content living her life on her own terms, surrounded by her children, friends, and passions. This mindset is as much about self-worth as it is about love. Brinkley now knows that being single doesn't mean being incomplete. In fact, her peace of mind has become more valuable than any promise of forever. Makes you wonder, if you'd been through what she has, would you still hold the door open for love? Or would you lock it and finally rest? From the cover of Sports Illustrated to the front pages of tabloids, Christie Brinkley's life has been lived in full view of the public. 4 marriages, 4 endings, some quiet, some explosive, have shaped her into a woman unafraid to question the very institution she once embraced again and again. Her 5-year marriage idea is more than just a headline. It's a reflection of a personal truth forged through experience. Love is worth celebrating, but commitment should be a choice you continue to make, not a cage you feel trapped inside. Whether you agree with her or not, there's no denying that Brinkley has sparked a conversation that goes far beyond Hollywood gossip. She's made people think about their own relationships, their own definitions of forever, and whether tradition always serves happiness. Maybe you see her as a realist, someone brave enough to admit that love can fade and that it's better to part as friends than as enemies. Or maybe you see her as someone too quick to give up, shaped by a celebrity lifestyle most people can't relate to. Either way, her words have reached you. And maybe that's the point. Because behind the perfect smile and the glamorous past, Christie Brinkley's message is surprisingly simple. Protect your happiness, even if it means rewriting the rules. So now the question is yours. Would you ever agree to a love with an expiration date? Or does "till death do us part" still mean everything to you? Share your thoughts below. And if this story made you think twice about love and commitment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the conversation.